So in the last video I showed you how I made these various textured papers. So the question is, what am I going to do with them next? Well, if you carry on watching, all will be revealed. So in the last video I showed you how I made these various papers on my Gelli Plate, and I'll leave a link to show you how I actually made them in the description below. Some of them I'm quite happy with, like this one, but the one that I was working on most of the time was this one here, and it's quite a hot mess in my opinion. So what I want to do is to show you how you can look at these various pieces of textured paper and decide what areas within those papers that you actually like and what to do with them once you've decided how to cut and crop them. So that's going to be the whole point of today's video. So before I start to show you how I crop these down, how I decide which parts of the textured papers I'm going to use, let me show you what I've done in the past with this type of Gelli Plate textured papers. I've put them into a book, and this one would be areas again that I've identified that I like, and I've cut them up or ripped them and turned them into this collage. Other times I've cut them down even smaller and used them in these little 3-inch squares. So that's one idea that you can do with your textured papers. The other thing that I've done in the past is to use a whole sheet of the paper and draw figures. I'm quite attracted to this kind of outline of a figure. I do this on numerous occasions. So I could decide to pick one of my backgrounds and paint on it and do a little bit more embellishment. Here again I've cut it into strips and turned it into a collage. This again is very much like this one, where I have a whole background and I've done some writing and mark making on it. Another idea is what I've done in my little grey book, and I use them as backgrounds to my created images that I make on my computer. So I could use the textured papers as backgrounds to this kind of collage. All of these ideas you'll find on my channel, and I'll leave you a link to find them. Something else that I've done in the past is to make concertina little books. These are made with just a pen and some Indian ink and then spraying water on them. So I could go along and make some of these little concertina books and find tiny areas of the textured papers that I like to turn them into a concertina book. Very simple to do. I made another one, a larger one, and this again was done with pen and Indian ink, and it's kind of a landscape. But the principle is that turning some more of a heavier weight paper into a concertina, I can put these textured papers into them and create a nice little concertina book that I can keep and remember how much I enjoyed making the papers in the first place. Okay, so as I've just said, not every pull that you do on the Gelli Plate you'll be really happy with, but there will be areas that you find more attractive than others. So an idea here is, this is a mount from a pitch frame, goes inside the pitch frame, and then you put your photograph or painting inside. What I've done is just to cut it up and make two L shape. Well, they're not lettered, but two L shape shapes with them. What you can do is to go along and have a look at the various different areas in your textured paper to see if there's anything that really jumps out at you. So what I would be doing next is going through and finding areas that really appeal to me. Some areas are obviously very messy, but when you cut them down and look at them via this method, you can find parts that you really would like to cut out, trim, and add to your collage. Sometimes that you might even like some of it to go into a frame and it becomes a picture itself. This is with Payne's Grey and white, and I use Payne's Grey and white on all of my textured papers that I videoed the other day. Now this is the one that I was working on, and it's turned out to be quite a hot mess, but if you isolate certain areas, it tends not to be the hot mess that you feel that it is on first look. So there are parts of this that I'll be able to use in my collage, rather than looking at this and thinking, what a waste of a piece of paper and paint. I can take areas from it and rescue it. The same with this part here. This will be some nice contrast in the collage that I'm going to do. And this was just part of a ghost print, or part of the process where I use this piece of tissue paper just to mop up the excess paint. Another thing that you can use, you could use a circle, and this goes back into producing this kind of little book. You could have a square format with a circle, and each part of each page can be part of the textured paper that you've used. So you will find something somewhere on your paper that really appeals to you. And obviously you can make the circle smaller or bigger, or you can do a combination of circles and rectangles or squares on each page. But by isolating what you've done, you can find parts of your work that may not appeal to you straight away, but when chopped down or put into a circle or a rectangle or square, you'll find something there that makes your heart sing. So those are the ideas that I've given you there, and what I'm going to do next is I'm going to start looking more seriously at these textured papers, and in the next video I'll start to chop them up or rip them up and put them into my book. I find putting my work into these books much more convenient than just having pieces of paper hanging around in a box. So I do try to use the textured papers that I make and put them into a book, and so that once I finish with them I'm able to pass them on to my daughter and granddaughter, and instead of just having a pile of old painted papers, they'll have a little book that they can keep to remind them of the art that I produced over the years. So I hope that's helpful to you, and the next video, as I've just said, will be creating some kind of collage using either circles or rectangles or squares, and turning them into a collage. So I hope that's been helpful to you, and I look forward to seeing you again very, very soon. So thanks for watching, and bye for now. Bye bye.